かる物差し自分の心の中にあるのさ足りないもの数えるくらいなら足りてるもの数えてごらんよ Count what you have now Don't count what you don't have Can't you see, can't you see have now Don't count what you don't have You can't have so much You can't find Can't you see, have now Don't count what you don't have You can't have so much Find
왜 그래 무슨 일 있었어 너의 얼굴이 말이 아냐 말해봐 왜 그래 나쁜 일인 거야 나랑 눈도 맞추지 못해 지금 너 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야 미안해서 못하는 거야 하기 싫어 안 하는 거야 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야 내가 알면 안 되는 거야 이젠 한 말도 없는 거야 왜 그래 그렇게 어려워 너 좀 먹으러 갈까 일단 나갈까 왜 그래 뭘 하자는 거야 차 없는데도 한계가 있어 알겠니 오오 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야 미안해서 못하는 거야 하기 싫어 안 하는 거야 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 싫어한다는 거야. 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야. 내가 알면 안 되는 거야. 이젠 할 말도 없는 거야. 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야. 미안해서 못하는 거야. 하기 싫어 안 나는 거야. 도대체 왜 아무런 말도 없는 거야. 내가 알면 안 되는 거야. 이젠 할 말도 없는 거야.
Hey, hey, hey! How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I got a nicer setup now, and oh, my desktop is not completely filling the screen. There we go. But I finally managed to figure out how to actually set up a green screen so that it is green and you can see through me and you can see through it. Which is amazing. I also kind of figured the music thing. If you remember, I can play the copyrighted music because it's not like they will just get rid of the video. I mean, they will get rid of the video. They absolutely mute the sound, and if I'm talking over it, you can't hear it at all, which is not great. So I made a playlist. And if you check my VODs on the channel, here you'll see that the last one, let's see, the chess one, actually got some muted parts here, this entire part. But the one after before that, the creating music one, we have the entire audio full of non-copyrighted music. So that's working. I'm slowly figuring things out, which is great. And the way I'm actually getting this much camera quality is actually not, whoops, it's not because of the webcam that I was using. That one is nice, but apparently it doesn't have that much quality. I hooked up my iPhone to tripod, and I'm using that as a camera because it turns out iPhones have a really good camera. So yeah, those are some updates on how everything is going. Also, for anyone who is new here, you can do ! drop, and you will fly through the screen. If you get to that target, you get some channel points. And now I'm there twice for some reason. Oh yeah, but it's on the stream. So yeah, you can just try that out while I do some coding, or follow along, or both. Yeah, so what are we doing today? So I have all these screens, like for example this be right back screen, or the welcome screen. And the thing about this is that like I mentioned, I have this playlist of non-copyrighted music, which is really nice. And sometimes people ask me, what song are you playing? And I could probably, like, some people are using like some special application for non-copyrighted music that automatically posts to chat every song, which I mean, Claro's chat, I personally don't really like it, but it's a thing. Me, since I'm using Spotify, because I like to keep things, it's not simple, I'm making my life more difficult, I like to do weird things. But yeah, I don't have that. So I thought, let's use the Spotify API to make an embed that I can add to the stream, and so maybe it's on a corner there, and it just displays the name and the art or whatever of the song that is playing. And let's try to make it in a way that anyone can use it. So like not only me with my credentials, anyone can click, log in with a Spotify account and add it to the stream. And let's try to make that in before the stream ends. That's all we're going to do work today, and hopefully we're going to get that finished before the end of the day. Also, if you didn't notice, the comments are up there, so I might take some time to answer those, but I will eventually. Welcome Rory, welcome Nath, welcome everyone else. Do you also do Algo and DS? What do you mean DS? Algo, I assume it's algorithms and stuff, like math. I don't know what DS is. So yeah, while I wait to learn what DS actually is, let's get started. We're using Next as always, and we're going to call this Spotify embed because that's nice and simple. Data structures. I don't. I may at some point actually. I've been like I'm starting a new job next week. I haven't announced where yet, but I will on Saturday. And so I've been thinking, what should I do with my free time now that I'm going to have a job actually, and I'm going to have like some structure to my life and stuff. And I mean, the answer is I don't know, but the second answer is I'm figuring it out. And one of the ideas includes, I mean, most of the ideas I'm going to like do. I'll probably do a vote, and people can vote on what I'll be focusing my time on next. But most of the ideas include some kind of streaming and doing stuff. And my preferred option, the option that I'm going to say this is like the one that I want to do, and you can do with that information whatever you want, but like this is the one I prefer. That one is related to doing more stuff with shaders and math and algorithms, all this fun stuff that I've been really looking, and also game dev, maybe. I can give away too much, you'll have to wait till Saturday for that. But yeah, there's more math, fun stuff planned for soon. Let's call this... Just make sure this is working. I'm going to copy my styles. Can you help us on good resources to learn how to create NFTs and selling them? Yeah, sure. So basically, first of all, try to understand a little bit of crypto and what's an NFT. I have an article that I just published the other day on this, on how to learn crypto, which includes some resources, including this awesome list of NFT related resources that you should definitely check out. And you can just read through a bunch of these. They talk about everything NFTs. And then after that, you can go to, I believe, platforms.techoptimist.xyz. This is a spreadsheet that explains the differences between all the different NFT platforms, or at least the main ones. And then finally, you have Pump My Gas, which will tell you how much it currently costs to mint an artwork on any of these platforms. Yeah. That's pretty much about it. If you have any specific questions, you can ask those, but I think that's like the general gist. So let's get our styles set up. And we should be up and running. There we go. Hello. So here's what I'm envisioning. I basically want to... Anyone who arrive on this page, there's a giant login with Spotify button that they can then click, and that will log in with their Spotify account. And then they just get some URL that they can add into OBS or whatever they're using for streaming that will take care of everything basically. So for that, let's just really design a really simple welcome page. I'm thinking I'm going to get started with some Tailwind UI styles, because we can take care of, I usually just get stuff working, and maybe if the design related stuff like the actual embed that is taken care of on the stream. But then all the other policing and stuff I just take care of off stream before releasing it, just to keep stuff interesting. So yeah, we're just going to get a simple hero section. This all looks super all the same, but I will take care of that later, and I can just like make sure I have imported this. And that should get us some of the way in there so we can start working on the actual interesting stuff.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Thank you for the follow, Robin.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir.
And I need the imports as well, of course.
Like Eskimos, everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots,
So we're somewhat closer, but not yet. I don't think Tailwind is getting loaded actually.
find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's
Oh, right, yeah.
on his way.
I need, for this to work, I need to have the pages inside the source directory.
On his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna smile
That should fix it. There we go.
to see if reindeer
So then we just make a little bit, some adjustments to get rid of this and make it more like
so
centered and stuff, and we can get right into the fun stuff.
simple phrase to kids
I
from
don't think we're going to need any of like the mobile navigation things. And get rid of all of that.
many times, many ways. Merry Christmas to you.
And just center this. And center that.
And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to
And now, of course, we're going to need to get some client ID and client secrets. And I'm going to try my best to not leak them this time, because I always do. So let's get those. Going to create an app. And the client ID can be shown. And the client secret, yeah, sorry. And I think I've taken good care of it. Shouldn't be able to see it now. We do need to restart the server so that it picks up the changes. And I should need to add a redirect URL for now. And while we're at it, we can enable Webpack 5, which will make our builds faster. And let's also set I need to hide again for this, because there are secrets there and I don't want to show them. But yeah, we are now using Webpack 5, which should, you can see it here, because we enabled it on the next.config here. And that should make our builds much faster. So I think this is the URL that we need to redirect people to. And I'm not exactly sure. Let's see, where does this lead to? Okay, so to make this work, I need to use this hook, I think, instead of just doing a redirect. So we're going to check this button and we're going to say if there's not a session, so the user isn't logged in, we're going to show this. This is going to be a button. And on click here, we're going to call sign in. It's Spotify. I know what options we're expected to pass in here. Callback URL and redirect. That's fine. So we should be able to just do this, I think. And I guess if we do have a session, we'll show that on the console, which we don't. So I click this now, it should redirect me to Spotify, there we go. And then I can click agree, and it will take us back. But now we have a user with my name, my email, and image, and that's it, which is not exactly what we want, because we want access to the token. So we're going to need a little bit more than that. See what if there's any way of configuring what we get. Okay, so I think what I need to do here is override some configuration in here. For this, I think we need to override the profile function. Yeah, there we go. So in here, we're going to say profile. It's going to be a function that takes a profile. So it returns the ID, the display name, the email, whatever this is. Let's actually look at the source. So we're going to do this, but we're also going to console.log our profile. So when I give this a refresh, oh, we got an issue. All right, I'm missing a parenthesis there. There we go. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lenoy III, for that. So if I log in again, should get the same user, but now I also get it here. You can see here we have access to more stuff. We still don't get what I want. I mean, we have some progress. We get the user ID, which I don't think we did before, or maybe we did. No, we did not. So that's progress, but we actually need the tokens. So let's actually dive into the documentation on how to use a custom provider. And we'll see that the second parameter is the tokens. So I think I'm going to have to BRB for a second here, because I obviously don't want anyone to see those. But we basically get and you'll have to believe me on this because I'm not going to show you. We get two parameters here, our access token and our refresh token, and we're going to need both of those. So now what we need is some kind of database to store those on, because we can't use cookies or something like that, because this is going to be a URL that we generate and then they copy and paste onto OBS. And so for that we need a database, and I think the easiest way of doing something like this is using Firebase, so that's what we're going to go with. And we're going to just add a new project called Spotify embed. We're not going to have analytics because we don't need them. And there we go. So now this is always confusing because there are like two different types of database. Like there's Firestore and real-time database. I think Firestore is the one that we need. So you're going to create a database. We're going to start in production mode because we want this to be easy to deploy. And we're going to deploy this to Europe because that's where I am, and it shouldn't really matter that much anyways. And while we're doing that, I want to quickly check if Firebase authentication is a better alternative for what we're doing. I don't think it is, but it may be. So you can't, so we don't really have a choice. That's nice. So yeah, we have our database here, and we're going to set up some rules. So right now no one can do anything basically. We're going to create users table. And then this is going to have an ID, and then I guess the ID, and then the tokens. That works. So we should have a collection now. Is next auth compatible for with Laravel Sanctum? They don't have a specific driver for that, but there's like a using a custom provider section here that you should be able to use for that. And yeah, it should work pretty much out of the box. So I think I need to add my first user. So I'm just going to make a mock one, which just has an ID of 1. And we'll just delete that as soon as we are done with it. I think now if I reload, we should have a record. Maybe not. But yeah, now we need to actually connect to that. And we only want to connect from the server, really. Because otherwise we open up bad things happening. I don't think this has any kind of integration with Firebase, so we're going to have to do that by ourselves. I mean, there's probably like a custom adapter thingy. Let's see. Next, Firebase auth. No, this is something different. We want Firebase on next auth. I think we can just do that on the profile function actually. It's a little bit hacky, but it should work. So let's see, where am I here? We need to get some credentials. That's what we're doing. And I'm going to leak my tokens for this, but it shouldn't really matter. I don't know exactly which of these we need, so I'm just going to copy all of them. This is the config that we need. So we're just going to, for now, have Firebase thing here, I guess. So then we add Firebase. We're going to import Firebase from Firebase app, and we are also going to import Firestore, because we need that. And then finally we just create our app using the config. And we can inline this in here. And I guess we export the app. And this will at some point be driven by API thing, like EMB files. So let's refactor that real quick. I think I don't need most of these, but I don't know exactly which ones I need. So better safe than sorry, I guess. I do know we don't need the sender ID. I do think we need the app ID though. So now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this app and just move this to the emb file so that I don't leak stuff when I start adding things in here, like my tokens. So I'm just going to create a new app. And then get the config for that. I'm pretty sure you can't see my screen now. Okay, I should be ready now. There we go. So now we have this Firebase key. This is the API key. The project ID is going to be Firebase project. We don't need storage bucket either. We don't need auth domain actually. And the app ID is going to be our app ID. Pretty easy. And this should be all we need to interact with Firebase. So now in our next auth, oops, I just licked them. Nice. Now I need to do that all over again. Give me a second. This always happens. At least I'm noticing this time, but there are times where I just don't notice and leak everything. Okay, so makes sense. I've closed the thing. And there we go. So build Firestore. And now let's check the documentation for that. So first, I mean that's the real-time database. That's not what we want. We want to go to Firestore. Add and manage data, add data. And we want node. Okay, so we need to make this function async. And we're going to await on collection users or user profile ID, because we're going to reuse the ID from Spotify, and then we're going to set access token, refresh token, and maybe the ID again as well. I don't know how difficult that is to access, but this should be enough. This will probably crash. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where even to get that DB function. Should probably look into that first. So we can go call get Firestore. don't know if this is going to work. It's probably not going to work, but we're going to try it anyways. So, can I use in operator to search for Spotify in no? What is that happening? Duplicate app. And I assume this is an error from... Oh yeah, I think I remember this. We have to go to Firebase. And I like the things again. And say... we need to check if it's been initialized yet. And if I remember correctly, the easiest way to do that is to go Firebase apps. And we're just going to console.log this for now. And if I give this a refresh, get an array. Let's log the length actually. And to give this a reload, we get 1. So we're going to say if equals 0, and then we have to initialize it, otherwise it's already loaded into memory. And that should hopefully take care of the error. We click login now. ID is not defined, let's see. Let's console.log the profile again. Oh right, yeah. That was the issue, I think. Try that again. First or connection permission denied. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Now we have an issue with the permissions. Means that what we need to do now is edit our rules so that if I'm creating something from users, something like that, and I'm not authenticated, it should be denied. But if I am authenticated, it should be also denied. That's not what we want. So let's see the rules. We want content owner only, basically. I think this is the one that we want. So now if I rerun this again, hopefully, now we're getting the same thing, connection denied. Missing or insufficient permissions. So let's see, if we go into our Firestore and we say usage, we have one connection here. Not getting picked up in here. So let's see. For Firestore, match whatever database is, match whatever document this is, allow read write. Let's say if true to test. Should basically give anyone permission to read or write. It is not what we want, but we can test that. And that works, and if we now go into here to the data, should see that we have a user with an ID and a token. And don't worry, I'm going to like revoke all of these before the stream ends, or actually just after the stream ends. So none of this is going to get leaked. That has happened before. At some point it's just better to give up. So yeah, we have our user, and now we can give this ID. We're going to say it's our user ID, because it seems like ID gets removed for some reason from the thing that we receive. So I'm going to give this a reload, log in with Spotify again, and we're still not getting anything. Nice. Let me first of all make sure that there's only one user, and there is. So then how can I do it so that I can pass whatever I want to the profile? Let's see. So callback returning an object with the user's info. So anything I return from the profile should be shown, but it isn't. So maybe what we can do is hijack the image, just like as really hacky solution. And so this way, I need to offer a way of signing out so we can test this out correctly. So let's do that real quick. So just for testing, this will probably be removed later. So we have this sign out, just signs us out so we can log in again. And now we should have still nothing. Awesome. So we know this function is getting called. I think this is being overridden, like our function is being called and then the function of the actual provider is being called after that. So that's why we have no control over what gets returned. Oh, never mind. We have our ID here in the image. We can work with that. So then the final step is if we do have a session, we want to paste here an URL that the user can copy. And so for that, I'm going to get guest action panel. And we're going to use this one. And we're going to need this plugin. So we have this thing. And we want the thing to be full width. Like that. Something like this. We don't need the button. We don't need this to be a form.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all, with those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales, the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales, the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most
There we go. That's our URL.
yes, the most wonderful time. Oh, the most wonderful time
So now we just need to make that work.
of the year.
We have everything else. Thank you for the follow, Ayomiko. Hope you are enjoying stuff. So let's just test stuff up. We have our endpoint working. Let's try to get this ID. I think this is on query. There we go. If there's no ID, we return we don't have any ID. Not found. We have an ID. It works. Okay, so now let's think what we need to do with this. I think this is not going to be the embed endpoint, this is going to be the... Let's see. Now playing. This can be our now playing endpoint. And here we need to figure out what song is currently playing. And for that we're going to turn into the Spotify documentation, into the web API. And let's go with the player API, I guess. Get information about the user's current playback. There we go. So we're going to get this URL and we're going to need We're going to need our token. Could have an easy copy button to the right of the link. I could, as I said, I want to get the basic functionality working before I start to polish things a little bit, because that's how I do want to have this finished by the end of the stream, and this is the way that I found that it's the best way to do it. Because if I get stuck on things like it, I did spend a little too much time on the border. But yeah, I will probably add that later. That's a great suggestion. I do want to get the important functionality here now. So authorization. I think it's just standard oath. Yeah, bearer and the token. Nice, so now we need to get the token, and for that we're going to import Firebase from here. We're going to get our database, and actually I think we can do that on Firebase. Here we can say export default Firebase, export const db equals to Firebase Firestore. So now we can import db from Firebase, and in here we're going to say, I guess we can get rid of this right now. We don't want to do too many things at the same time. We're going to say db.document users get now I need get options.
Baby, it's cold outside. I got to go. Baby, it's cold outside.
Oh no, let's see the documentation for this.
I'll hold your hands. They're
With
just
data, get data once.
beautiful. What's your
db collection.
listen to the fireplace roar? Beautiful, please don't
Dot collection
some records on while I pour.
dot doc, and the ID we get there. So it's the reference, and then we need to do dot get, and we await this, and we can say this is the user, and then if user doesn't exist, we do the same thing again. We just 404, and if it exists, we need to call document data, and we're just going to console.log this.
Baby, it's cold outside. But baby, it's cold outside.
It's going to probably leak something, but yeah. Refresh this, we get a server error. Doc is not defined. Where am I calling doc? Oh, here. Yeah, never mind. User. And it worked. We didn't have any errors, so I'm just going to quickly check the output, and we got our things.
It's up to your knees out there. I feel when I touch your hand. How can you do this thing to me?
So basically, we can get the access token from here, and then we use the access token in here. Actually, we should be able to do this as well. I think. And then we get a response. We get the data from that response, and we're just going to show that. We get an error. 401. This is an authentication error. Think I know where the issue is, but let's go back to what we had before. This part, I mean. We can get the rest of it done. And we're going to log the access token and retry that. At this point it has leaked already. Oh yeah, we need to get rid of that. Here's the token, but now if we JSON encode it, we'll see. Oh no, it's fine. So then why is it 401 ing? Let's see. Let's go in here. Let's delete it. And let's log in again. And this should have re-added the thing with our access token. Let's throw in an error. Do we need a scope for this? I think we may need a scope for this. Let's check. Answering to your question, what were some great resources when you started to learn how to code? So I started kind of like playing around with HTML. So I would see a nice web page and I would view page source, look at the HTML, copy it locally, edit some stuff, see what it did. After that I moved to PHP, and for that I used Codecademy. So I think they have removed their PHP course, which is the one that I used. But I would just recommend going for, if you want to go into web dev, if you want to go into PHP, you can use Laracasts. They have a free, if I can find it. They have a few series about PHP and also Laravel. That's kind of how I got started. Okay, so I was checking if this had a scope that I needed to have access to. Let's see. Going to get a token for myself. Oh yeah, I need user read playback state and also user read playback position. So user read currently playing, I guess. Going to go for user read currently playing and see where that gets me. So I need to go in here and say scope. Make sure we get access to the currently playing. And then in here, I guess we need to use the user API instead of the other one. Yeah, this endpoint instead of the other one. like that. So now I need to log in again. Oh hey JBS, how's everything going? And now I get access to see the content I'm playing. So now if I go to the now playing endpoint, hopefully, there we go. We get the progress, we get the item, we get its track, we get a lot of things that we don't really want, but we get the URL, we get the name, we get the artist, we get everything we want. So let's filter this out a little bit. First of all, let's make sure we can see the actual structure of this. And so we're going to return, let's see, title is going to be response.item .name. Then we have artist, response item artists, and then that's an array, so we are going to get the name of those. And we're going to join those. Then we're going to get the album, if it exists. So response, item. Yes, there's no really a need for it to be an album. So let's make sure that that doesn't crash if there is no album. And then we get the album. Let's see, we also need the where can I get the guess is plain is important. Also the progress. And then finally, hopefully some kind of like preview image. I don't know if I will include that in the final design, but I do think that's a nice thing to have. Guess that comes from the album, right? Yeah. So we're going to say cover image response.item Camino album, let's remember that, and then we get the images, and we filter them by how big they are. So image, let's go with the width. So I assume all of these are always square. And then we get the first one, and we get the URL. This should be all we need. Let's give it a try. So we have is playing through our progress through the song, which you can see updates. The title that is playing right now, artist, album, and cover image. And that should be everything we need. There's another endpoint we need though. Is going to come in handy because this token that we're using expires 30 minutes after it was generated, and we want to keep refreshing that endlessly so it doesn't stop working after 30 minutes. So we're going to make a refresh token endpoint. And we do the same thing here. We make sure the user exists. Then we're going to get the access token and the refresh token, and let's see what the endpoint for this is. we need let's see. Requesting a refreshed access token, here it is. So we need to post to this URL. And here we're going to set grant type to refresh token. Yes, because that's what the spec tells us to do. And the refresh token to our refresh token. Then we also need this authorization header. It's going to be basic. And a base64 encoded client ID client secret. So we're going to get and we just need to figure out a way to base64 encode this. So I think that the best way to do this is with buffer dot from or string let's see. You exist. Yes, you do. So let's see. The drop thing is working, right? Like I see people doing it in the chat, but I don't see it on the screen. So maybe I just missed it. So we need we create a new buffer from this string. And then we say to string, yeah, it's working, okay. Base64, and I think this should work. Buffer, I think we need to explicitly import that. And that should make it happy. Mine didn't work. I want to speak to the manager. It has a 90-second cooldown, so if you did it in the last 90 seconds, you have to wait a little bit. And then finally, we need to actually make a form data. And let's make sure we know how to do that with Axios, because it says here you need to make this a form request instead of just a normal JSON request like normal people do. So let's see, features here. By default, it relates to JSON. So it seems like I need to use some external library, unless I want to use, I mean, I do need to add this header, of course. I think that's enough. I need to, I think we should be able to use URL because that's native. And then we just do new URL dot search params. We pass this in here. Ayo, how's it going? And then we say to string. And that should do it, hopefully. Let's log the response of this. This is a refresh token 404. Not what we want, really. So where is it 404 in? Node buffer is not handled for plugins. And let's import the polyfills and let's use the regular ones, I guess. We load and we get a server error. Buffer is not a constructor. There you go. Access token, token type, expires in scope. So we get a new access token, and with this we can say same thing we were doing here basically. We await DB collection users, the profile ID, which we are going to get from here, ID, set ID, access token is going to be and our refresh token is still the same. So we are going to do that. Let's test it by going into my my user and changing the access token to something random, like random, and then running this, we get an error. Fire ID has already been declared. Let's call this user ID then. Reload, another error, response is not defined. Or are we using response? Oh yeah. Here we can say 204, which is like no content, and we just send an empty string. The issue now. It's not throwing any errors. Getting like a 500. Oh, 204. Okay. No, I don't know why it gets internal server error. Let's say done maybe. Maybe we can use this, I guess. There we go. So now, if I go in here, we have our access token again. So those two things are working. Now the last thing is to just bring it together. So we're going to make an embed page. Which is going to make this, instead of API embed, just embed slash whatever this is. So now if we go in here, we get this page. We go in here, we're going to get undefined because there's nothing in there. So let's add a way of getting that. get server-side props, I guess. Actually, I think we need to do this server-side any. We can just use the router. Let's say ID we get ID from the query, and there we have our ID. So now we're going to use, let's say, data error still while revalidate, and we're going to use this to fetch /API/now playing. And we're going to log the data and the error, and we get the data here. And actually, I think we get more properties. Let's check. We get data error is validating, mutate, and revalidate. So we're going to get data. We're going to get error. So yeah, those two were fine. So the cool thing about this library is that it allows us to periodically fetch stuff. So we can, let's see. We have a few things here. Check the docs for that actually. And let's first error handling. And we are also going to need revalidate, I think, because that's like re-triggering the request. And so auto revalidation, we want to say revalidate on focus false, because this was also always going to be on focus. And then refresh interval. Refresh interval. I don't know if this is seconds. It doesn't tell. Let's assume there is 100 seconds maybe. And we can actually check this by doing data position, I think it was progress, and see. Yeah, I think that's yeah, you can see it's doing like doing it like every second, which is nice. We can work with that. And then finally, we want to refresh when hidden as well. Let's see where this is. So this is going to be true, because I don't know how OBS works, but we don't want to keep this page loaded always. We don't want to retry when we get an error. We will do that manually. And then on error, we're going to call this function. And we're going to log the error for now. And that should get us more or less where we want. Except we don't get this by default, so we're going to use initial data to return some data in the shape of what we already have access to. So I'm going to return is playing false, progress 0, title, and this way we don't have to worry about things not being, I mean, I guess the album can be null and the cover image as well. But for example, progress will always be set even if we reload. So yeah, this is nice. Now let's display some data. So we're going to have the name of the song first of all. It's called title actually. So this is, we're finally landing by home. It is actually, for this progress to be worth anything, we need to also know how long the song is. This is something that I didn't really realize. So let's do that real quick. We have a way of getting something like that. So we have progress millisecond. We have progress, which is, I think, is the same thing. We have timestamp. Let's check the same point that we're using player currently playing, so I assume it's player and currently playing. And this will return duration milliseconds. Oh, I didn't see that. Did I miss that? Yeah, thank you. I actually had completely missed that. So we could do the duration and have it like here, this, and actually this is response. Otherwise it's going to error. And when it errors, it stops playing and we get this thing, which I guess serves to prove that that works. But I think... Why is it not getting the duration? So duration and progress. Did I not save? It's saved. This is the now playing endpoint. Let's give this a reload. It's not showing up. Anyway, so what I think I want to do is progress is going to be the progress by the duration. And this should get us a number from 0 to 1. Or maybe not. Let's see what's happening there. So here's the progress. Oh, yeah, it's item, right? Is that the thing? Yeah, there we go. So 0.1. Now, and if I just go to the end of the song, 0.9. There we go. We can use that to estimate how long we are into the song and show some kind of display bar. This is actually very useful. Yeah, that's nice. So let's get working on the error first. So what happens if I come in here and mess up the token? It's going to have an error here, and the error is going to be a 500 error. So we need a way to differentiate that error in here. And that error is 401, I guess. Yeah, 401. So no playing. Need to catch. And if error status response, response status equals 401, we're going to return and otherwise we can just throw the error back. So if we reload, we get the token expire error. And now, if we are in here, they break something. Yeah, right after end. Alright, yeah, so I guess what I can do here is do this inside here. Like this, and that should fix it. If I reload this now, it should still show the error and not crash the server. Let's see. Nope, same issue. Okay, so let's try something different. Instead of catching it here, we're going to use a try catch block. this. And this should take care of the error. So if we give this a reload, we get a token expire message, we don't cross the server. We reload this now, we're going to get an error more or less instantly. Here it is. And so now in here we can say if error the status is different from 401, we're going to throw the error back. Otherwise, we're going to console.log token expired. If we keep this reload now, hopefully we get token expired 2 times actually. So when our token expires, we're going to get API refresh token our ID. We're going to await that. Then after the token has been refreshed, we revalidate, which basically means just do the thing again. And we need to make this async. So if we give this reload, we get a 500 on the now playing for some reason. Cannot read property status of undefined. Now playing. Let's log the error so that we know what the issue is. Response is not defined. Oh, right, yeah. That should fix that. And so now we get the thing again working. And it starts refreshing again until we go back in here and change this again. Update, and then in a few seconds we should see that go back to a valid token. So we got it working. Now finally, let's just make this look nice. I'm going to pause this so that it doesn't refresh every time. But actually it shouldn't really matter. Spotify's API for some reason doesn't have any kind of rate limit, so we can just keep spamming it forever. So let's see what I want this to be. First of all this white is going to be transparent when I put it on OBS. But for now, let's make it black so that I can see the contrast with the white that I want to have. I'm going to get rid of that later. Why is this not working? Let's see. We're looking for JavaScript, TypeScript, JSX, and DSX, and this is a JavaScript file. Maybe it doesn't play well with this. Let's see what happens if I say... Now it works. Okay, so I think it's an issue with like this. This is weird because I assume someone would have raised that. Or it works now. I don't know what it was. Anyways, so we have our black background and then we're going to have a card here. It's going to be white for now. Going to be flexed just so that it are actually inline, so it doesn't take the whole thing. Going to have some padding in there, round the corners, maybe have a little bit of margin just so that we can see what we're doing. Let's move this here and we can move that back later. So let's think about what we want. I want this to have like a kind of a glass look, like if we go to my mind and search for glass, we have glass morphism, which is when things look like this. Sorry, I want to have something like this. Yes, so yeah, that you can also see what's happening behind. So let's play around a little bit with stuff, and I think something that looks nice. So I'm going to copy the CSS for that and apply it here. Going to be BG opacity 20. We already have the videos. We already have the background. Shadow is a pretty unique one, so I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. And we have our backdrop filter, which we can refactor to use Tailwind in a second. Then we have our border, which I think we should also move to Tailwind. Something like that. It should look like this on a gray background. Let's have our background be this color, just for testing. So let's see, for the backdrop filter we can do backdrop blur is what we want. So we're going to use backdrop filter. And the blur is 13px. It is close to our medium, so we're going to go with that. To make this look nicer, we can set the text to white. I think this shadow is a little bit too strong. I think the shadow is... I think it's constant in this example.
You still
So this is
It doesn't surprise me. I wrapped it up in
border
scented
opacity 20.
saying I love you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool
Why is that not working?
but if you kiss me now,
Oh, I need to do a border
last Christmas I gave you my
like that, and then we just have the shadow.
next day. You gave it away this year.
See what happens if I use one of the wind shadows.
I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I
I
gave
think
you
something like that does look a little bit.
very next day. You gave it away this year to save me
I
from
think I'm going to stay with that shadow
give it to
from the generator.
someone special. Whoa.
So then I think there are a few looks that I can go in here. I think I want to go with just like standard one. So I'm going to have an image.
Eyes, I'm hiding from you and you're so wise. Oh my God, thought you were someone
Only if there is a cover image.
me. I guess I was a shoulder to cry on. Son, your lover with the finest heart. A man undercover, but you tore me apart. Ooh,
We'll take care of this in a second.
now I found a real love, you'll never fool me again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. You gave it away.
To save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. You gave it away.
To save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
Face on a lover with the fire in his heart. A man undercover, but you tore me apart. Ooh, ooh, I found a new lover, never fool me again. Wrapped it up and sent it. I love you, I meant it. Someone special.
Think I want to have this take all of this space if possible. Not what I wanted, but okay. Something like this could be a look. I think maybe something like this looks nicer.
月を仰いでいるまるでかぐや姫のよう確かなその誇りを計りにかけているの朝まで踊ります月明かり僕を照らして愛の忘れますあの迎えが来るまで
I think this is nice for a first test. Let's actually add it to OBS and see what happens. With the background, oops, with the background, something like that. And let's copy this URL. Going to bring here OBS. And add a new browser source. Hopefully this doesn't crash anything. Let's call it Spotify. And it looks nice, except it has a black background over it. This is not what we want. Okay, so let's try to understand why that happens. Does this have any kind of default color? I don't think it does. I think it would work if we get rid of this first div, but then it takes up all the space. That may work. This looks awful in here, but it should look decent on OBS. Let's try to do that again. Okay, same issue. Is there any way we can see why that happens? Let's see if we can actually distinguish when someone requests versus when OBS requests. Here.
grasshopper airplane cannot fly.
Let's see. So window.obs Studio should exist on OBS and not anywhere else. So let's say const is OBS equals window OBS Studio. Probably going to crash if I refresh. Yep. Let's do it like this. And then we'll show is OBS in here. Type of window is not undefined element. We reload. So OBS is not defined. Did I spell it wrong? I did. Okay, so here it should show nothing, and if I pull in OBS again, we have things are even more messed up than before. Yay! So it loads fine here. But it doesn't here. To be honest, I don't really know what could be the issue. Let's keep trying until we find out. Let's see what happens if we have a div in here that says be transparent. That makes the whole screen transparent. Does that fix anything? It fixes the output, but we're still stuck with that black background. The rest of the page, though, is white. It's like if we made this red and everything was red, the whole thing is red. So this is just like this part. All of this, which is Steve, I assume. Maybe it has like an issue with the background, with the shadow. Yeah, that's it. It's the shadow. Oh, it is not. It still has that background there. Like you can see, here is transparent, but here is black. And actually, if I set the background to like red, that works. If I set the background to white, that works as well. I set the background transparent, it shows this black thing. What happens if I set it to like 0.01? Still doesn't work. So we know that the background is not an issue. I mean the shadow. That's just like an effect of our issue. So I guess something we can check is it a tailwind issue? So if we remove all our styles, the background is gone, which means that this is indeed a tailwind issue. What happens if we let's pull in this. And let's pull in tailwind by parts. So tailwind base, tailwind components, and tailwind utilities. And this should bring back the issue. It does. What happens if we remove the base? That's not part of the issue. What happens if we remove the components? Also not part of the issue. What happens if we get rid of the utilities? Okay, so that's where the issue is. It's a class that we are applying. It looks like. So if I had to guess, it's either something due to the background or maybe the backdrop. That's the issue. Okay. So we can have a backdrop filter, apparently. So what we can maybe do is have a div on the background of this that has that applied. So if we make this relative and set 10, we can have this thing. We will say here overflow hidden, and that border is going to be an issue maybe, but we'll see. So now we have to put everything on top of that, like that. And now let's Apply our properties in here. Instead of backdrop filter, we're going to use filter and blur. And so that gets us kind of what we're looking for. Can see it's still like too wide. Let me make that bigger. There's no background there because it's blurred out. So something that I think I could do, I could apply a chroma key. So for example, if instead of doing this, as we saw it has issues with the backdrop filter, we can just revert to how everything was before. Like this, and then we just say, you know, the background on this page, that's going to be green now. Like that. And then you give it a chroma key. Not really going to work, is it? Nah. Let's go back to the other thing then. So this is why it doesn't work. Okay, so it makes sense that it doesn't work. I think this should be able to work around it. And it looks decent. Probably what we can do now is set up a correct aspect ratio. Something like 100 and then 1000 here. Maybe like and let's add some padding in here so that the shadows don't get cut out. Something like this. Oops, it's floating around pretty naturally. and I can just put it in here to a side. That's decent actually. Let's do some final touches. Like, I guess we can make the artist a little bit bigger. Add somebody in left. Like that. Maybe reduce the one that we have in here. Something like that, and then that looks a little bit grayish when it's on. I would say it looks weird on white, probably. So what we can do, because the thing is, I had a dashboard at some point. Which had a component similar to this, and I don't remember exactly how I implemented that. Let's see, that's on JavaScript, components, music. So it's the progress bar that which we are going to add in a second. Right, yeah, I remember now. So what we can do is use the instead of having just like white, we can do this, and I need to refactor this a little bit. Hope this works. So now what this is going to do is not exactly why is it not working, or maybe it is. Yeah, we have the background image. Oh yeah, the issue here is that we have this background here. No, it's not that. Okay, so we use the cover as background, so you can see. Oops, let me reorder this. So you can see here. Then we make it so that it's not completely opaque, and add the and blur it a little bit. Maybe this is too much. Why is it still transparent? Oh yeah. And then we have another layer. I think. Let me look at how this actually look like. Yeah, so it was this thing. So it has this background. This is the progress bar that I was talking about. Then the cover and the everything. And then you can see like the background is a slightly blurred version of the other background. The thing in here is that Let's see. For that we need to have a dark background, I think. And then you don't really notice the thing. This is not what we're going for. So I think what we want is something like this on the bottom though. Something like that. Then we blur it a little bit. And it adds these things that I don't really like. Looks nice. The shadow is a little bit too much for this, so I'm going to get rid of that. And let's add a softer shadow. And then the text is not really legible. So what we can do for that is blend it with a gradient. So for background we're going to have this thing. Did that do what I think it did? Not really. That's more of like what we're looking for. More of something like that. Which adds a little bit of contrast. So just like to show what this is doing, this is it without the thing. You can see the text is not really legible, and then with it, it has like a slight gradient. And this is like a one that has a dark cover, but if we find here, it should be more noticeable. So if I get rid of the gradient, this is not really legible. If I have the gradient, it is. What happens when you have one with a light background and a long title though? Okay, so that's legible. That is a little bit less legible, but it still works, I think. That has a dark background, so it works. I think it should work for more or less all of them. sometimes when the background is like pure white, it doesn't look as good, like, as you can see here. When like 90% of the times it looks really, really nice, I think. So I think we're going to roll with that. Finally, let's add a progress indicator to the top. Just because it's a nice thing to have. For that, we are going to maybe to the bottom is better. Let's add a red thing. Something like that. Then let's move that to the background. I mean to the bottom. Like that, and then make sure it's full width. The way we're going to do that is by applying the margins in here. So something like that, and then we lost the one on the top. There we go, and then we're going to make this move according to the progress. So instead of width full, we're going to say style with it's going to be, what was it, data progress. And so in here it's 0.6 times 100 actually, and you can see it moves now. There was a way to make it so that it didn't. Oh right, yeah. So I can do here if I do transition all, it slides instead of moving suddenly. This is nicer. If you increase the duration of that, the effect works better. I think I had it at like 1 second, so that it seemed constant. I think we're going to go with that. Yeah, you can see it looks like it's always moving, which is really, really cool. And so if this works correctly, as soon as this song ends, which it does in 20 seconds, let's speed that up a little bit. Let's move it it goes back and starts again, which is really nice. The thing is, as a colorblind, I don't see much of the progress bar. I actually have no idea how to design for like colorblind people. So yeah, any feedback that not feedback, like, do you have any tips for making that easier to be seen without clearing the whole design? So I would actually be interested in those. Yes, as a way of learning. And I think I'm going to, at least for now, make the progress bar the color of the Spotify brand color. Because why not? On dark brown background is okay, but on white the red is too light for me. Yeah, the issue with that is that I don't really have control of the background. Like, it's just the blurred version of this. Oh, the green is nice. Okay, yeah. So that works. So basically, anyone can come into our website, click the login with Spotify button, or I guess I need to remove on the index the border on that button. So if loading, so let's say shadow, actually we get rid of shadow and we add it in here. And also rounded probably. Yeah, we can get rid of this div at all. And so basically, if I reload the page, let's add a little sign out button here. Get some secondary buttons, something like this. Guess we can make this a little bit bigger so that it isn't moved by the button. So sign out, and when you click that, it actually sends you out. Parameters does this offer? Nothing interesting. Yeah, so we sign out. And here we can log in with Spotify. Anyone can click this button. They get this URL. Which, by the way, I'm going to make that so it doesn't depend on the host. So I think I can do... location origin. And so now, right now is localhost 3000, but if it was like, I don't know, something different than that, and I have to log in again, it's going to, I mean, the redirect, but like it's going to work. Yeah, just believe me, it's going to work. which is really nice because now we don't have to change that again. What else is there left to do? It's beyond the scope of the stream, but you could programmatically get the average color of the image and use that to determine a suitable color for the progress bar. I could do that. That seems fun, but I have to wrap up. maybe on another. Yeah, and the thing about that is that it has, like, right now I know that it's going to work. It will look kind of ugly sometimes. Like right now, black and green don't, like, it brings too much attention. But yeah, I don't know. Actually, I think something that we could do is to make it semi-transparent, the whole thing, because, like, so that you can slightly see the code behind it, because, like, right now you can't, and that might be an issue. So maybe we can take care of that. I think we ended up needing the BG transparent thing. No, we don't. So maybe here we say opacity 80, and we just roll with that. That just darkens it though. Like, you can kind of see through it. Yeah, the point where you see through it is the point where you don't really get any advantages. Maybe you do when the background is not black. Like, let's see. No, it's just darker, not more transparent. So I guess it would make sense for it to work that way. Because, like, they have no way of predicting what's going to be behind it, so they can use the transparency. But yeah, I think if I'm using this in the stream, I have to either make it small, like small like that, or put in a corner where it doesn't bother or something. I guess I could put it in here. Better to break the design than be unviewable for some colorblind people. I think the solution would be to have a few choices. If the image is very light, you have one color. If it's very dark, another color. And so the thing right now is that I think the part that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the part that is unreadable is going to always be the progress bar and not the title, because I added the gradient thing. And the thing about that is that's not that much important. Like, that's decoration. It could not have a progress bar, and you would probably not complain about it not having a progress bar, because yeah, I mean, you care about the title, you care about the artist, maybe the album. You don't really care about the progress of the song. That's just mostly decorative, I would say. So yeah, I don't think like, if it was a text, I will probably try to find a better solution. I think the gradient overlay is enough for the text right now. So yeah, what was I doing? Welcome to Overthink. I've been here for years. So last thing, I think a copy button, like a button that copies this URL to the clipboard. Maybe you can click in here and it's copied automatically. I think that would be nice. There are, like, always a few things you can do here. I think this is, like, the easiest one. Maybe that's not the best option. Let's search for a React alternative. Let's see. This is like the hacky version. Navigator, clipboard, write text. I think this is not supported in all browsers, but it's supported in most of them. So let's go with that, maybe. Let's let's see. Here, I'm going to say on click. Going to copy this, and this URL I guess is going to have to be dynamically generated. Or maybe we can just duplicate it and it doesn't really matter. So now, when I click on this, it copies the thing to my clipboard. And if I copy some other thing, and then click again, it copies the thing again. So I guess then what we can do is to say cursor pointer. Or is there like a cursor clipboard? I don't think there is an official one. Fold, pointer, wait, text, move, not allowed, and that's it, maybe. Let's see. CSS cursor. There's crosshair, not allowed, zoom in, grab. That's like a clipboard one. Don't think there is. No, there isn't. Okay, so click works, I guess. And I think that should be... You can add select all to have it select everything, really? Is that a thing? Let's see. It's a CSS all. It's a CSS class. Oh, nice. I didn't know that was a thing. Does it work though? User select all. I'm not sure why, but I don't think it works in here. Does it have to maybe be a div? What happens if I make this a button? It just goes away. Oh, there's cursor copy. Let's see. I guess let's roll with it. Looks weird. I don't think no one uses it in the modern web, but yeah, let's go with it. Why not? So I don't think there's that much less to go. I'm not going to deploy it to production yet, because I want to reset all the secrets and use new fresh ones for deploying, of course. Because if I'm going to have people use it, I guess something I've just noticed that is going to be annoying is that if I anchor it to this part, it's going to stay always in there and grow. If I anchor it in here, I don't know how much it's going to grow. So I guess I'm just going to say fuck it and anchor it always at this point. And then if someone wants to have it on the other side, they can just... I mean, they can make a PR. They can make a PR, adding a parameter to configure it. Or they can just move it to the right. So yeah. So let's go. Let's do. Where is this? Here. Let's do. I guess self-end. No, I think I need to make this one a flex container. And that's going to fuck up a few things. Like that. And then we just say items end. Or actually we need to say item center. And then we say justify end. And that makes sure it's always to this side. Yeah, that works for my setup, which is nice. Yeah, I like that. And then finally, I guess let's add it to the rest of the things. So I'm going to switch to the starting screen for a second and bring in Spotify. Put it on this corner. On the chess one, which it's going to look weird right now because I have a green screen and this is not a chessboard, but just have it a little peek behind the scenes. And then finally the Be Right Back one. That's nice. And then I guess also in the stream ending. The stream is not ending yet. I mean, it will soon, but not yet. So don't worry about that. Now I think I need to add it in here. So yeah, that's it. We don't now have Spotify embeds that anyone can use as soon as I deploy it and tweet about it. So yeah, if anyone wants to get them, those will be available at, like, I guess, spotify.miguelpf.me. And you can use them for your own streams. And if anyone wants to add some extra themes, you're free to PR a few themes, which I guess I will do at some point, because I do want some... Like, my host stream has all this really cool vibe, and this one is still cool, but doesn't really match. So I guess I will add themes at some point, but someone can beat me to it, so I don't have to work as much. Is the size weird? Yeah, I think the size is bigger in all of them except for this one. Let me fix that real quick. Browser. There we go. So yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I did learn a lot of things. I learned about what not to do when designing for colorblind people. I learned the copy thing, and also like how to work with Spotify in general, which was great. And yeah, next stream is going to be on Friday. We're going to play some chess, just to chill out, because like on Saturday I'm going to be announcing a whole lot of things. I'm going to announcing what my new job is going to be. I'm going to be announcing what I'm going to be dedicating my free time and streams after I start working. I may release some art as well, like some 3D landscape art, which I've been working on. So that's all on Saturday. On Friday, we're doing a chill chess stream just to like hang out. Chess, like something that is on the background. I'm not really good, so I don't have to like focus. I can just be talking with you guys, which is nice. And yeah, hope you guys join on that one. That's Friday, I think 4 to 8, something like that, on my time zone. you can go to my Twitch page and click on the schedule to see what it is on your time. So yeah, hope to see you there. Hope to see you around in general. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening. Bye.